Hi everyone, Happy New Year's. In today's video, we are going to quickly talk about journaling and planning. So when it comes to New Year's, everybody sets different goals that they hope to see throughout the new year. But one of the hardest things many people come across is following through with these goals. So here are some quick, easy tips for you to take to help you follow through and see your goals through from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. When it comes to journaling and planning, it's easy for you to set big goals for yourself. Naturally, you're excited for your future ahead and for the plans that you have that you want to take on and see through in the coming year. But oftentimes, many of these goals are very unrealistic, either through doability or timeliness. One of the things that I do that helps me always see my goals through is setting short-term realistic goals for the long term. I say this all the time, especially when it comes to natural hair. I always say this: you always want to set short-term goals for the long term. You want to set little short-term goals which are realistic for you to meet within those short-term periods, for you to feel verified and accomplished in order for you to meet your long-term goal. When it comes to long-term goal, you don't want to make a huge list of long-term goals. Save that for the short terms. Long-term goals should be either one or two different goals. For example, a long-term goal of yours may be to graduate in the spring semester, or by the end of the spring semester, or in the summer. So what are the things you're going to do in the short term in order for you to see that goal through? You're going to show up to your lectures and your classes. You want to take your notes consistently. You want to complete your assignments on time and turn them in. You want to speak to your professor as much as possible and go to tutoring sessions as much as possible. These are examples of short-term goals and a long-term goal. You always want to make sure that your short-term goal helps you and gives you a leg up in order for you to reach your long-term goal. And it's always easy to get excited and set these huge goals, as you should. Dream big, set big goals, but you always want to make your short-term goals realistic as possible in order for you to feel confident enough to complete and see them through to the very end. So I can write in my journal that my long-term goal for 2021 is to, 1, not kill any of my current plants. So my short-term goal for 2021, when it comes to my long-term goal of not killing any of my plants, is to keep up with weekly watering. This is a goal that is realistic both in time and in doability. Every week, I can dedicate a day or a certain time to watering my plants. 2, add new soil and fertilizers on the 4th month. This is, once again, doable in both, is realistic in both time and doability. In 4 months, I can see to it to add fertilizers and new soil to my plants. And the 3rd short-term goal of mine is to replant my plants once they have outgrown the current potting situations. I set a timely goal for that to be within 6 months, so which is halfway into the year. So in order for that to happen, it means that I need to keep up with sunlight and hydration for my plants constantly in order for them to grow. If they are growing, they will also require new fertilizers and soils. Once they have these 3 components together, keeping them stable and growing to the end of the year. Hence, leading to my long-term goal being fulfilled as me not killing any of my current plants. This is just an example of how you can set your goals for the coming year. Remember, dream big and set big goals, but make sure your short-term goal does support your long-term goal and is both doable and realistic in time. This is where your planners come in handy. Setting your short-term goals for weekly stuff, you might want to invest in a planner. You would want to invest in a planner for this reason: for you to keep track of your short-term goals and make sure that you are completing and seeing them through for the long term. I have a Dabney Me undated planner that I use. I love using undated planners because it's just easier, and in situations where I do go ghost on some of my plans, it's more cost effective and makes more sense to me to have an undated planner. This is like an example of like my last semester, what my planner looked like. I had my short-term goals, and then I had a long-term goal that I set for the end of the week. So definitely investing in a monthly and weekly undated planner is helpful. I will link these journals and planners in the description box below, so be sure to check them out. Next, I have journals. I have a dotted journal and I have 2 ruled journals that I use. Having journals keep you productive throughout the year. So if one of your goals is to be productive, whatever productivity may mean to you, having a journal is very useful. I have a journal for different things that I do throughout the year and throughout my day-to-day life. This is my reading journal. So I write down reflections of books that I'm currently reading or was reading, and I use this to reflect and meditate with. See through it, I have some of my notes from Bell Hooks All About Love in here. So I use this a lot whenever I'm reading to write down my thoughts, my feelings, and different takeaways that I take from books that I'm reading. And this is a personal art journal that I use. I'm just going to show you guys an example of things you could do for it. So I have here is a little art that I have that prompts me to create different journal entries. So what you want to do is to find journal entries, and you can find them through Google or on Pinterest, and I'll link some journal entries for you to use in the coming year ahead of us. And I also use this to reflect a lot. So last night I did a reflection of 2020, and my prompt was one of my highlights from 2020, and I did a list of 31 and create art with it and just list out the 31 things that were your highlights for 2021. You could also use that as a gratitude journal. It's your personal use, so go crazy. So these are some of the quick tips I have for you guys to get you started on setting your goals and meeting them realistically for the long term. I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I hope that you guys have a good, successful new year ahead of you. May all your goals that you set come true and be accomplished successfully and peacefully. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you in the next one. Bye.